Welcome back in, guys, to another One Piece discussion video. It is a break week, and with that happening, we have the lovely Zonin here with us today to talk about the latest chapter, some of the events, and most specifically, Kizaru. Because I have a notion that Kizaru might not be such a black and white character, that maybe he isn't showing up to Egghead to be a villain necessarily, and I wanted to share my thoughts with Zonin and get his insights on what he thinks about it. So, just jumping right into it, Zonin, what do you think Kizaru is going to do here? Whose side do you think he is on? Will he be assisting the Straw Hats? Do you think he might even be with CP0 or the world government? Or do you think he'll stay strong to his marine roots and just fulfill whatever mission he is given?
So before coming into this video, I had no kind of expectations for Kizaru other than him just simply helping CP0. But then I went over some of the counterpoints with you previous to this video, and it's kind of compelling. So as we talked about, Kizaru has kind of a close relationship with Sentomaru. Like, Sentomaru calls him uncle, but not in a non-related way. And then, they are from time to time together, at least in the series, but then also like in the movies, they're oddly together sometimes. And then Sentomaru calling Vegapunk Gramps or OG-san, whatever he calls him. So they're not all related, but there is like a connection there. But as for the connection between Vegapunk and Kizaru, I didn't even think about this before, but it's implied, I don't think it's ever outright stated, but implied that at some point, Vegapunk was able to get Kizaru's lineage factor and reverse engineer his like light fruit power, and that's how he put it into the Seraphims, right?
Yeah. Not only do the Seraphims have it, but the Pacifistas have it as well.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Pacifistas and Seraphims.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course. So Vegapunk has some kind of relationship with Kizaru. I mean, has Kizaru, I think you said this before, did Kizaru ever speak fondly of Vegapunk? Or
I don't think we have any dialogue between them or with them in the same sentence, actually. Like, I think it's kind of an implied relationship because of the lasers, but they never really say, like, how they are related. Like, I don't even think Kizaru at one point has said anything about the Pacifistas having his laser either. He was just like, oh, yeah, there's the Pacifistas, whatever. Like, it's such an interesting thing, because you can kind of infer that there's something there, but we just don't know yet. And I feel like it's very telling that out of any admiral that Oda could have sent, it's specifically Kizaru.
Yeah, and you also mentioned before the light gloves being mentioned in this arc. And, we also talked about, like, they're not really going to be of much use to the Straw Hats aside, I mean, from Luffy or the big four of the Straw Hats. The rest of them don't have hockey, so it could be applicable to them, but it gets a little, I don't know, messy once you start thinking of scenarios with them using it. And it's like, maybe they could come into play with the Seraphims, possibly, because, I don't know, it's not confirmed, at least we talked about, that they don't have the ability to use hockey. I'm going to assume that they can't. So, I mean, it would also make them too powerful. So
yeah, I think it would make more sense if the Seraphim didn't have hockey. I mean, like, hockey is something that living creatures have, but Seraphim, like, they're kind of like hit or miss. Like, are they living? Are they not? They have they have desires, because we saw that shark, or at least one of Vegapunk's creations, was able to, like, want the ship. It tried to eat them. So maybe the Seraphim are the same way. Maybe they have some will to them after all. We just don't really know yet. They haven't even said anything. So can they even talk?
So, I mean, that's always an option for Kizaru possibly getting his hands dirty here. I mean, in the sense of helping the Straw Hats. Because if the Seraphims are using the gloves, it's obviously because they're going against him. And at the end of chapter 1069... it was pretty much fully implied that they're now under the control of CP0. Because Lucci had hand-pistoled Sentomaru. So yeah, they have control of them now. And this is another thing that I didn't even take into consideration with Kizaru possibly helping the Straw Hats here. is that there's just too much stacked up against them at this point, right? We already have Lucci coming in to be the foil. Like, he already showed up, disrupted things, took out Atlas, took out Sentomaru. Now they have the Seraphims. So it's like Kizaru showing up, and then it's just more. It's just,
another enemy. And another big enemy, too. Like, Kizaru isn't a joke. Like, while I think Luffy could beat him, like, it's not going to be an easy fight, right? Like, he could be an Awakened Logia light user. He could have a lot of tactics that we haven't seen yet, since we've only seen him fight once or twice. Like, he's such a wild card.
Yeah. Oh, going real quick into Awakenings, because we didn't talk about this before, but in our last collab that we did, it's going to be on my channel, we talked about how it's implied that Kuzan and Aki Inu have awakened their Logias by altering the climate and the land of Punk Hazard.
Yeah.
It's possible that either Kizaru or a previous user of the Light Fruit used their awakening abilities to like make it so that Eni's lobby is always stayed.
Oh yeah, so it always has that sunlight over there. That could be a possibility too.
It could be it, but it seems like maybe there's something different to it. Like, goes back to the Void Century were to have it at that point. But also it could be the Logia manipulating it. But that's besides the point. That's just a little tangent. So that's why I ultimately thought that it would actually be a good idea. And it would be a good twist if Kizaru shows up. And we've been saying throughout this video, like, helps them. We're not saying that, like, he's just going to completely break character. Now he's just a good guy. And he's like, yeah, I want to help the pirates.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that. It's he's helping Vegapunk, ultimately.
Yeah. I mean, and it's a great parallel because back in Sabaody, we had Sentomaru, Kuma, and Kizaru being the main factors as to why the Straw Hats wouldn't win. Luffy literally, for the first time in the series, said, hey guys, run. Like, let's get out of this island. Like, we cannot beat them right now. And then now we're in Egghead Island, and Sentomaru, pretty much on our side, went down already. We have Kuma on his way, possibly, not confirmed yet, but if Kuma is on his way, we can assume he's going to help Vegapunk. We can assume he's going to help Bonnie, because that's his daughter. So that's 2 allied already. And then if Kizaru falls in line and just says, hey, I don't want to help the Straw Hats, but I don't want Vegapunk to die, then, boom, we have the 3 OGs of Sabaody coming back, and instead of being villains, they're assisting the Straw Hats. And like you said, it's not like he's turning tail against the Navy. He's not, saying all pirates are good now, singing Kumbaya. He's simply turning a blind eye. And we've seen this happen before. We had Fujitora back in Dressrosa turning a blind eye. Aokiji at the end of almost every arc. It's just like, there goes Nico Robin again. Like, at the end of Eni's lobby, he was like, yep, let's just, we'll let her go. It's whatever. Like, if Kizaru were to join that rank, it wouldn't be bad, right? It wouldn't be, like, super unheard of to just simply let him go just this one time. Yes, I don't like the Straw Hats. Yes, I tried to kill him, but we'll let him go this one time because he's saving my friend. That's kind of where I'm falling.
I could see it happen because we didn't know that Sentomaru was friends with Vegapunk. We just knew that he was his bodyguard, and then suddenly in just these last couple pages here, it's like, oh, hey, by the way, remember when you owe your life to me? So yeah,
remember when you were poor?
CP0. Yeah.
Remember when you were starving on the street? Yeah, I saved you. Like we could get the same thing for Vegapunk and Kizaru. Like, Vegapunk could be like, hey, do you remember when I got you into the Marines? Like, anything's on the table.
They gave him that fruit in the first place, possibly.
Oh yeah. Or we learned that Kizaru's fruit is like a replica entirely.
That's possible too. I wonder how many times that's going to come up. But speaking of Kizaru coming to Egghead Island, it was really interesting how it was worded. So we didn't see him leave. We didn't see him at all, actually.
Yeah.
We kind of just were told that he was already on his way to Egghead for a quote-unquote prior operation. And it's like, what exactly is that? Now, I assume it's not to kill Vegapunk, right? Because CP0 was already sent to do that. So why would they just send Kizaru beforehand? But just, the wires are kind of getting crossed here. So it's possible that Vegapunk asked Kizaru to come there on his own, or...
That's what I would assume. And it's funny because when you first mentioned that, I actually didn't know what you were talking about, because in the OP scans and TCB scans, it doesn't say that Kizaru went there for a prior engagement. But when you read the Viz official, it's like, yeah, he was there for prior operations. So it's like, wait a minute, like, oh, wait, why was he going to Egghead Island? And like you said, like, it wouldn't make sense if Kizaru was going to go there to assassinate Vegapunk because, like, we got CP0, like you said. So, like, what is going on here? Is it a prior engagement? Is he friends with Vegapunk? Maybe he's just hanging out here. We don't really know, like, what he was trying to accomplish.
Yeah, so this is like what is really making me think that there's going to be like a twist here, possibly more than anything. It's the fact that he was going there for a prior operation. And at first I was confused if Aki Inu knew if CP0 was going to kill them or not, but apparently he does. But it also doesn't seem like, obviously, they were his orders or anything. It's Gorosei, and obviously he can't control them. But it also doesn't seem like Kizaru going to Egghead had anything to do with Aki Inu, right? Because he didn't know. He was like, where's Kizaru? And then the guy tells him going there on a prior operation. So it doesn't seem like Aki Inu was the one who gave him that order. So it's like, who did?
Yeah, maybe he did it of his own whim. And yeah, like, Kizaru's character is kind of a mystery right now that we can't really pinpoint where he's going to fall. Like I said, the most interesting thing in my opinion would be to have Kizaru be an ally in this one scenario. Like, you know, save Luffy, save Vegapunk, and then tomorrow Kizaru is going to go after their head. That's kind of where I'm at. And with all these talking points being said, what do you think would happen if he does show up? Who do you think he would fight from CP0? Do you think he'd fight Lucci? Do you think he would take down the Seraphims? Or are you still in the boat that Kizaru is an enemy and that he is going to attack the Straw Hats?
Well, I think it really depends on how much he knows coming into this. If he knows everything that's going on right now, then maybe he won't attack the Straw Hats. But you just would assume that if he shows up there, sees the Straw Hats, he kind of just is compelled to attack them.
Yeah, he's like, it's on sight. Like, it's in his blood. He's a Marine. He's an Admiral. Like, what I remember back in Sabaody, like, he showed no mercy to any of the supernovas. Like his sense of duty is too strong. Yeah, he's like, I'm just gonna take care of all you guys.
And also the fact that he was about to kill Zoro back in that arc as well.
Oh yeah,
all of the Straw Hats were trying to help him, and they were just powerless. We could get a parallel to that moment since we're getting so many in this arc already. As to where maybe Zoro's the first person he runs into, and not necessarily goes after bloodlust or whatever, but they have like a clash or an acknowledgement or something like that, and it's like, okay, Zoro's obviously much more powerful now. It's not going to happen the way that it did before, and then Kizaru goes on to help Vegapunk in whatever way that he needs to.
I'm very much leaning towards the Ben Beckman scenario, where Zoro just like points a sword at him, saying, "Hold it right there, light guy." And then Kizaru like throws up his hands like, whoa, what's going on here? I can't mess with Zoro anymore.
Oh yeah, that's
or maybe Kizaru does that to him.
I wonder if they won't attack now that they're Yonkos. Because
I mean, it seems like they need permission, right?
Yeah, Aki Inu was saying like, don't attack unless, they talk to us first. So I guess Kizaru is in the same boat. It's not like he could just go fighting any Yonkos he wants, because that's a declaration of war. Yeah.
Which I like that, because beforehand we were kind of like, oh, like, the Yonkos exist, why didn't the Marines or Admirals do anything against him? Now it's like, oh, now that we add this extra layer, we can say that maybe they wanted to, maybe they could have taken a Yonko, but it's simply because it would have caused a big war and too many casualties would have been had that they didn't want to fight Big Mom, they didn't want to fight Kaido, they didn't want to fight red-haired Shanks or, Blackbeard, which, I don't want to say it right here, but I don't think they could take most of them, but at least we can add a layer of an excuse on there, right? It makes the Admirals and Navy seem a little bit stronger in a way.
Yeah, I mean, look
more,
at just
more reserved.
Marineford was just one Yonko crew.
Yeah, and all the casualties, bro. Like, we had Marines dying left and right, pirates dying. It got so bad, Kobe had to step in. He was like, hey, guys, like, please, guys, too many people, too many lives have been lost.
He's the real person who ended that war. Shanks was kind of just assisting him.
Yeah, dude, if Kobe had the power to back it up, it would have been done. But with that being said, thank you for joining us today, Zonin. Do you want to shout yourself out one last time before we head out?
Sure. Reluctantly.
I say this every collab, and then he always gives the same answer.
Nah, come to my channel, guys. But when
There
you
we
do,
go.
But when you do, just watch my collabs with Sai. That's all you need to watch.
So he's being too modest. Zonin is the world's best RuneScape player. So you can actually, you know, going forward, check out all the latest RuneScape news over at his channel. He also occasionally does One Piece spoilers. He also does Jujutsu Kaisen spoilers,
I
My
do
Hero
RuneScape
Academia. He does all those.
too.
Yeah, he leaks the next patch of RuneScape. So if you ever want to see what's going on over there on that side of the chip, check out Zonin. He will be linked in the description, title, and comments. So yeah, thank you for joining us again, and you guys have a great holiday season.